Hello, Brighteon.tv fans and Dr. Ardis Show fans. I'm your host, Dr. Brian Ardis. Very excited to bring to you a very special, in my opinion, very special episode, since we're going to be visiting with the great Dr. Christiane Northrup, who's one of my favorites in the history of smart people and intelligent people who actually have common sense and could tell women around the world how to take care of their life, their pregnancies, their fetuses, their newborns, with common sense and logic outside of scientific jargon or scientific coercion. And so we're going to be spending two 22-minute segments with Christiane Northrup today discussing polycystic ovarian syndrome. This is a polycystic ovarian syndrome awareness month. So we're going to bring some education and enlightenment to you in this segment today. You'll be able to find me all over the place. We'll be right back after this commercial breaks, but just wanted you to know, if you're looking for me, you can find me and Dr. Christiane Northrup in Miami, October 13th and 14th. I'll be speaking on the 13th. She'll be speaking on the 14th. Come join us and Clay and General Mike Flynn and the whole Trump family, whoever's going to show up, trying to voice reason, freedom, and excitement for the future. You can join us there. We'll be right back after these messages. Hello, Brighteon.tv fans. Again, it's your host, Dr. Brian Ardis, and this show is being brought to you by, this segment anyways, being brought to you by 4 different organizations. You've got mypillow.com. Go to mypillow.com and put in the discount code DOCTOR, D-O-C-T-O-R, or if you're really tired and exhausted from chronic fatigue from all the stress you've experienced the last 4 years, they've even made an easier code for you. It's DR, which is an abbreviation for doctor. So if you can't spell the 5 or 6 letter word doctor, you can at least put in DR. It works the same. So go to mypillow.com, anything you need for your home, go there and purchase it or see if they have it. He's making everything, it appears now, not just pillows. And then number 2 is brighteonstore.com. Mike Adams and his great platform, brighteon.tv. Go to brighteonstore.com. Same promo code DOCTOR, D-O-C-T-O-R. You might want to start stocking up on some foods, non-perishable items that are organic and healthy. And he's doing a great job producing those at brighteonstore.com. And then also graithcare.com. Priscilla Romans and their advocacy group, Graith Care, spelled Graith Care, GraithCare.com. Go there if you want my help specifically. You can choose the AAA option. And then obviously NorthTexasHealingCenter.com. I will practice in North Texas. They're there to serve you. You can call them at 214-705-9369 or go visit their website at NorthTexasHealingCenter.com. All right, it's time to bring in the great, one of my most trusted individuals, and this is Dr. Christiane Northrup. How are you, and how is Maine today?
I'm great. Maine is beautiful. We just had our Common Sense Fair on Saturday. We had a pig roast and beanhole beans and all the patriots standing around, sheep herding, the usual things, that you do, learning how to store your carrots in sand for the winter. And, these are all the people who showed up a couple years ago when we're testing the weather and we said, something is off here. Something's really off. So we, like you and I, we have found each other through God's internet. And here we are now in 2023. And if you're still thinking about, okay, there are still people testing themselves for COVID. And this astounds me. Look, didn't you get the memo that the test is worthless? Anyway,
yeah. Where have these people been for 4 years?
Yeah, I don't know, but that's okay. We were out there on the front lines at the beginning, and it's really been, I have to say, devastating for families and friendships, and exhilarating simultaneously.
Yeah, there's been so many people, I think, that felt alone for a very long time with their ideals, their values, just through personal experience and research, who felt isolated from people who accepted a more mainstream narrative in medicine and health. This last 4 years has opened up a huge avenue for people to connect with like-minded individuals, even if they weren't in their family or in their relationships already. And so I have seen a huge monumental opportunity for people to gravitate, find individuals they never would have found before if there wasn't some crisis vomited on them and fear mongering about some invisible virus that can be protected by a cotton diaper on your mouth and over your nose, which is crazy. But yeah, shocking. All right, Christiane Northrup, tell the world where you've been for the last few weeks. I want them to know where you are and then where they can follow you and where they can find you. I already mentioned in the opening, you can find us at the Miami Reawaken Tour, but you're traveling as much as I do. I'm somewhere every week, and
That's
tell them where you've been most recently, what things you produced most recently, where to go find those, and then where to find you in the near future.
Well, most recently, I was in Branson, Missouri, talking about something called Cardio Miracle on the PTL Praise the Lord Network with Jim Baker. And this coming weekend, where is it I'm going to be? I am going to be at the Lake Geneva Christian Center, 605 Birch Avenue in Alexandria, Minnesota, with Dr. Jared Ostensdorf. Okay. At the Global Health Freedom Summit. And then after that, I will be in Clay Clark's Reawaken America tour on the 14th. I'm speaking around noon. And then the weekend of the 20th, I will be in Orlando speaking at the Galactic and Spiritual Informers Conference, where you can learn about all the stuff that they have really been trying to hide, like the unidentified flying objects that they have identified for decades. They just didn't want you to know.
That sounds like a really cool conference in Orlando, Florida. If I wasn't somewhere already, I'd be there. I'm actually booked somewhere every weekend through into the second week of November right now. And that's just straight through. So I really do applaud you. You've been doing this for decades. This isn't new for you, but I think the last 4 years there has been a gravitational pull for people all around the world needing individuals who've been speaking out truths for years to show up on stages in front of audiences, in front of loved ones in their churches, wherever it might be. It's obviously been a lot heavier load in the last 4 years. It has been for me personally, maybe for you, or maybe this is your normal life every weekend traveling somewhere.
No, not at all. And in the past, when I was one of the 100 most trusted people in America by Reader's Digest in 2013, they would send me first class tickets. They liked what I had to say. I was on Oprah and NPR and all the rest of it. And that all suddenly changed, of course, with the Center for the Countering of Digital Hate, which they made up. So I'm, a proud member of the Disinformation Dozen, the 12 people on planet Earth responsible for 70% of the disinformation on the internet, something that's been completely disproven. But it doesn't stop them from the continued censorship. In fact, if you try to follow me on Instagram, you get a warning. You get a warning. Are you sure you want to go to this site? Which I love because, I describe myself as, I've done a lot of stuff, but I am, I'm a postmenopausal woman living with cats. It's like in Maine. How dangerous can it be?
Yeah, you super terrorist.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely.
I have to say this disinformation doesn't. It was interesting to see that list like 3.5 years ago or 3 years ago. I remember looking at the list and I was like, wow, it's interesting. I've never met any of these people, but I know who they are. Now I've actually been on stages with almost every single one of you, or been in your homes, or you've been in my home. I'm not kidding. Every single one of you I have, except for one, and that's Dr. Mercola. He's the only one. I haven't been in his home while he's hiding away in Florida or wherever he is.
No, I've never, I was on his show years ago, but I've never, I don't think he comes out, I don't think so. But you're right. That's God's internet, where we've been, we've met each other, and it's been the most wonderful thing, everybody. It's, I was at a thing called Queen Esther, about the book of Esther in Branson, this incredible theater. And, they got the thing, for such a time as this. We were born for such a time as this. And it's so clear to me. It wasn't at first. I mean, when I first showed up at Clay Clark's thing in Tulsa, Oklahoma at the Rhema Bible College, I didn't have a clue. I'd never seen people standing, praising the Lord like this. I didn't know what that was, Now I just got baptized.
That's awesome. That's awesome. There has been a shift and an awakening.
There's been a shift.
That has happened. Yep. Yeah. That's awesome. All right. So let's allow you, Dr. Christiane Northrup, Reader's Digest, 100 most trusted individuals in America or around the world. Oprah Winfrey is one of the top souls in the world. And let's get you and your disinformation to educate our audiences today on something you would be very familiar with, which is why I wanted you to come on and have this discussion. Every week on my show, the Dr. Ardis Show, I actually do I take either health awareness week, day, month topic, and I will basically destroy the narrative that the medical profession will tell you about that condition.
Oh, I
So
love that. Well, I love that. That's a great idea. You take the thing that they're telling you about, and then you just tell people the real truth.
oh yeah, every week I have this lined up through the end of January. Every health topic that they want to make a significant national campaign, international campaign. Every week that they do that, I actually present their data, their statistics, their actual research, and then the antidotes and the solutions for those that are all natural, and the problems with their recommendations. It's really quite fun. This is just what I do. I've been doing it for 20 years in private with people, trying to help them uncover the root causes for their diseases and symptoms. And you kind of have to unwind everything they've been indoctrinated or sold as the reasoning behind it. And then help them make sense of it, right? Common sense. You had your common sense fair. It's time to bring some common sense to a condition millions of young women and adult women are having, called polycystic ovarian syndrome. Okay, so by definition, can you just lay out for us what polycystic ovarian syndrome means? Like, what's the Latin terminology? What does that mean to us?
What it means is if you look at the ovary on ultrasound, or if you cut into it on someone who's died, or if you're there in the operating room, what you find is that the cortex of the ovary, the outer surface of the ovary, is thickened, and there are all these little cysts in it. So it's bigger than it should be, and there are all these little cysts. And what the cysts represent is eggs that never made it to ovulation. So it's almost like, that there were all of these creations that wanted to be born, but they got blocked. And the reason that they got blocked is it is a rather profound hormonal imbalance. And they tell you that the cure, if you're a gynecologist, this is the cure for everything, okay? Birth control pills. I swear to you. And everyone should know that OBGYN training is basically brought to you by all the manufacturers of synthetic hormones that are not native to the female body. So
if you're name some that we'll be familiar with, female hormones.
Okay, so Johnson & Johnson, Ortho. In the past, there was Wyeth, but Wyeth was bought by, I think, Merck. Merck brought you Gardasil, and that's a very good way to maim women, is Gardasil. Sorry, but I came out against that in 2006 on the Oprah Winfrey Show. She happened to give me the microphone and said people could ask me questions, and Gardasil had just come out. That's the anti-HPV vaccine where people had the t-shirt, "I won't be one more." And I gave all the statistics in my book, Women's Bodies, Women's Wisdom. And I said, you aren't going to be the next one anyway. I won't be the next one. You never would have been. Okay. You really wouldn't have been. So that was, Mary Holland describes that because she heard a marketing executive from Merck describe their Gardasil campaign as lightning in a bottle. They had lost so much money on Vioxx, which had been killing people of cardiovascular disease. So remember, everybody, Pfizer and all the rest of them are just serial felons. They're just serial felons. Part of doing business is to pay out these massive fines and then just keep doing it, because the fine is a line item. Oh yeah, it's the price of doing business. It's just the price of killing people. Absolutely. And then we'll bring out the new thing. So that was Gardasil. Well, anyhow, so what polycystic ovarian syndrome is the inability of the ovary to be in this wonderfully orchestrated cycle of creation, which is you get your period, and then an egg starts to grow in your ovary, and estrogen increases during that time. And then right at mid-cycle, there is a pulse of FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, in the pituitary, feeds down to the ovary, and boop, an egg comes out of the follicle. And then if you do not get pregnant, then you get a little body called the corpus luteum, which is yellow, and that produces progesterone. And then for the next 2 weeks, approximately, here's how I say it. The first half of the cycle is you're preparing to give birth to something outside of yourself, which would be a baby or whatever. And then the second half of the cycle, if you're not pregnant, you're preparing to give birth from something deep within yourself. That does not happen in polycystic ovary syndrome. They're just sort of stable, and the testosterone levels are higher than they should be. These women tend to get excess hair on their face because it's an androgenic deal. So the way it's approached in modern medicine is just put her on birth control pills. Now, I want you to, there's a place for birth control pills, but I want to tell you they're completely overused. And what is your menstrual cycle? It is a beautiful, vital sign. So we have blood pressure, we have pulse, we have respiratory rate. And then if you're a woman, we've got the menstrual cycle. It is a vital sign. Well, if that's messed up, something else is messed up. But what do birth control pills do? They put duct tape over the indicator lights on the dashboard of your body, so you can't read them and you think, oh, everything's okay. I mean, it's like, no, it masks what's going on. All right. Now, what works for PCO? First of all, it's always worse in an atmosphere of hyperinsulinemia. When you have too much insulin, and too much insulin raises blood sugar. And for glycemic stress, okay, so you're eating donuts all day, you're eating simple carbs, all of the stuff like that. It actually increases the problem with the hormones. I have heard now that there's some rock star called Lizzo, and she's obese. And she shames her backup singers if they're not obese enough. So what we've moved into is this sort of curvy fat acceptance. This is insane. Plus, I also heard there's this new thing, Ozempic, right? That's $15,000 a year. And whoever promotes that now has a bottom line that's more than the gross national product of the country where that drug company is. I think it's Denmark or something. You cannot have better living through pharmacy. You got to get your diet straight, but mostly you need to tune in to the cyclic wisdom of nature. Where do you see that? Well, you see it with the phases of the moon, and the phases of the moon determine the cyclic flow of fluids in the body. So on the new moon, if women are living together on the land without artificial light, and artificial light messes things up, then they tend to cycle at the same time. And the reason they do is that the pheromones from the armpits and the pubic area actually get everybody to be cycling at the same time, kind of ovarian sisters. So you want to do everything you can to tune into the cycles of nature. So we have spring, summer, fall, winter, and in your body, that's 1 month. It's the beginning, and then egg pops out at mid-cycle. You also get increased testosterone right at mid-cycle if you're not on birth control pills. So we always joked about the ovulation movies, because you feel maximally ready for cross-pollination at that mid-cycle. The birth control pill, by the way, blunts the testosterone level by increasing testosterone binding globulin. And we don't know how long that lasts after a woman is off the pill. And it also does another thing, the pill. It changes the way you perceive the scent of a potential partner. Now, you know how they've done those studies, and women, if they smell the guy's t-shirt, they choose the partner who's best for them genetically. But if you're on the pill, you can't tell. Oh. It's really interesting. And I had a good friend, an OBGYN from Texas, and she said, I think if I had met my husband when I wasn't on the pill, the marriage wouldn't have happened. And then it wouldn't have ended the way it did. Okay. So acupuncture, Chinese herbs, reflexology, that helps get you back on track. Castor oil packs to the lower abdomen, that helps. But what will not help is going on birth control pills that just mask the whole thing. So I've seen woman after woman after woman get over PCO. Here's the other thing they tell you. Oh, well, you've got it, and that's it for you. You'll never get over it.
You inherited this. You inherited it from your mom, your sister.
Yeah. No, why don't you be the black sheep? And in terms of inheriting things, oh, well, blood, breast cancer runs in my family. Then I go, yeah, well, what else runs in your family? Because breast cancer is pining for the back, walking away. It's like you're giving, you're not receiving. And these organs called breasts are symbolic of giving and receiving. So I want you to see everything at your power. Your power as a woman lies in understanding that everything that happens in your body is biosymbolic, and you are relating to it in a certain way. It's not happening to you, it's happening for you, for your soul. And Dr. Ardis and I had a little conversation before we began about the body code. And the body code is a very, very well-studied, well-documented approach that clears belief patterns in the body. For some of them, 20 generations back that you don't even know you have. You know, the sins of the father are move forward with the children, low on to 7 generations, and you can clear those. So I want you to know you have some power over this. The other thing, grounding. Get your feet on bare ground. Mother Earth will bring negative ions in through your feet to decrease cellular inflammation. So 20 minutes on the barefoot on a beach on the ground decreases cellular inflammation, the root cause of almost all chronic degenerative diseases. It decreases that by 20%. And the sun, getting out in the sun. It actually, we're moving into seasonal affective disorder time. And if you just get natural light in the corner of your eye, there's a good company called Light for Health. And if you just buy one of those bulbs, I'm not kidding, it's natural light, just have it illuminated sometime when you're working at your desk or whatever, that will change the hormones. Just natural light can change PCO. However, you will not be able to continue eating all the donuts and all the cookies and all the chocolate cake. I'm really sorry, but you won't, because you've got to get your insulin levels down to normal, which will bring your blood sugar down to normal. And then you won't have to worry about heart disease either, or diabetes.
And I want to say one thing as we go to a commercial break here in about 50 seconds.
Yep.
You brought up Ozempic and Lizzo saying that her backup dancers need to be a little more obese, or that's so ridiculous. Okay. Those who are at most risk for dying, being hospitalized, being diseased are going to be the obese. So you might as well get that under control, and don't listen to your pop stars who tell you you should be more obese. That is not even common sense. Don't do it. It's dumb. All right. So what they have right now, I'm not sure if Lizzo, maybe she's being paid by Ozempic and Wegovy, but these are 2 drugs that are being promoted right now worldwide for obesity and diabetes. Did you know, Dr. Christiane Northrup, that Ozempic and Wegovy have a published black box warning that states if you use this $15,000 drug that you inject yourself once a week, if you do this every week for a year, your risk for every single thyroid cancer goes up after just 52 weeks. Did you know that?
I did not. I knew there was something bad. I knew it.
Yep. And did you know that this drug also is published? There's a CNN article that came out on July 25th of this year. It's titled "Blockbuster Weight Loss and Diabetes Drugs Are Now Causing People's Stomachs to Be Paralyzed." And it actually shares Hollywood celebrities and lay people around the United States and their personal stories that they used Wegovy or Ozempic to inject themselves once a week to help them lose weight or control blood sugar. And this is not a joke. They are now, after stopping the drug, still cyclically vomiting every day, multiple times a day, everything they eat or drink, because their stomachs are paralyzed and can't empty the food into their intestines. And this drug, Wegovy or Ozempic, is creating this life-changing, terrible side effect for everybody who has taken that drug. So paralyzed stomachs, not being able to empty into the intestines, is making these people lose their jobs, ruin their whole life by them throwing up all day long, a year and a half to 2 years after stopping the drug. That's what's in that CNN article. All right. So did you know, Dr. Christiane Northrup, did you know that drug Ozempic and Wegovy are actually made from a lizard in the desert called the Gila monster? Did you know it's made from the Gila monster's venom? So Ozempic and Wegovy are called GLP-1 drugs, and they are made from the venom of the Gila monster lizard in the deserts of Southwest America. Now, my question for you is, Dr. Northrup, do you think people that are overweight and have diabetes, do you believe they have a Gila monster lizard venom deficiency? Do you think that's why they're overweight and diabetic?
Absolutely not. But leave
So
it to
moronic.
you. Okay, guys, you got to listen to this guy, Dr. Ardis. He's on it often years before other people are. I mean, this was worth getting up in the morning for, hearing about this. Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah, this is worth it. All right, we're going to be right back after the commercial break with more with Dr. Christiane Northrup. Welcome back to the Dr. Ardis Show. I'm your host, Dr. Brian Ardis, with the incredible Dr. Christiane Northrup, educating the world on polycystic ovarian disease and the fact that Ozempic and Wegovy are two obese and diabetes drugs made from Gila monster venom, a lizard in the ocean. And she concluded the same conclusions I had, that being overweight and diabetic is not simply caused by a Gila monster venom deficiency. We both agreed on that. So don't inject yourself with venom. It has side effects of cancer and paralyzing stomachs worldwide. Oh, and it's also published to cause acute and chronic liver failure, acute and chronic kidney failure, if you want that on top of that. And for diabetics, it is proven that this venom-based drug increases the speed at which you, as a diabetic, develop diabetic retinopathy. Your retina will actually detach from your eyeball, and you will go blind even faster if you have diabetes with that drug. Don't trust venom. Unless you want to ask your doctor first if venom is right for you. Ask your doctor if venom is right for you. That's what I would do. All right. This actual segment's being brought to you by KirkElliottPhD.com. You know, they're trying to steal all your money. Eventually there won't be any money. Why? Because they just made it up anyway. It's like monopoly money. What they create, they can destroy. They're going to destroy it and take it away from you. KirkElliottPhD.com. And then also we have H2Bev.com. Buy Hydro Shot. Subscribe to that. I drink one every morning, every single day. I have for over a year now. And Kirk Ruppert and their group has done a great job of producing a nitric oxide infused drink with hydrogen to increase how much nitric oxide and oxygen your body produces over a 8-hour period. And then growwatermaxhydro.com. Go there. You can learn more about their products for filtering out fluoride, glyphosate, and all those poisons in your water, maybe even venoms. Get them out of there before you pour your own garden hose water on your organic farm. Let's give a shout out to Dr. Stella Emanuel. Go to drstellamd.com if you need anything merchandise-wise of hers, nutritional supplements of hers that she creates. All right, let's get back to Dr. Christiane Northrup. All right, Christiane Northrup, I'm going to share my screen real quick because I want to show you this, just because I hate when people say stuff, but they don't actually show you. So I'm going to show you. Then I'm going to go to this article right here. Can you see the screen, Dr. Northrup?
I can.
We wouldn't have Ozempic without Gila monsters. They're hunger-regulating venom-inspired weight loss drugs. Look at that. March 22nd, 2023. Isn't he cute?
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. You know,
let's just inject that dude's venom inside of you. So ridiculous.
Whoa. Whoa.
And this is what they explained, that Gila monster venom has a compound in it that can regulate hunger. Do you know what it actually does? It actually paralyzes the vagal nerve, so your stomach can't relax to dump the food you just swallowed into your intestine. So it just sits in your stomach. And then when you have breakfast after injecting yourself with this drug that paralyzes your vagal nerve that now your stomach can't empty from, when you inject the venom inside of you, it binds to the vagal nerve. You swallow breakfast. Breakfast sits in your stomach until lunchtime. You get to lunch, you know you're supposed to eat something. So you decide to go to eat with your coworkers. You don't want to be the oddball out, not eating anything and looking like a weirdo doing intermittent fasting. So you decide to eat your food and drink your water. And then that sits right on top of that. And then guess what you experience? Cyclic vomiting that will not end. And if you haven't learned anything from me for the last year and a half, audiences worldwide, venom is published to stay inside of a mammal for up to 10 years. Bound to the cells after it's bound to them. No different than the venom that we found that's, I didn't find it, but published to be the actual spike proteins of COVID, the venom being used inside of COVID-19 shots called snake venom phosphodiesterase. All of these venoms bind to cells and create, number one, long-term side effects. And Christiane Northrup, have you heard of these long-term side effects of COVID called long hauler COVID symptoms? This is a published side effect of venoms, every single one of them. And I can show the whole world, every single doctor, every single layperson. I can show you every symptom being caused by COVID and the actual venom that's causing it. And I'm not joking. I can tell you that exact protein that's causing it. No one outside of probably venom experts could be able to articulate this to you as well as I can. But this is one of the reasons why this is actually creating a problem like this. Now watch this. I'm going to show you. I have to show you this actual article, and then we'll continue. So all of you out there who have loved ones taking this drug Ozempic, just know it was published on July 25th of this year. They took blockbuster drugs for weight loss and diabetes. Now their stomachs are paralyzed. And this actress is talking about it in Hollywood. And then they get into all of these people now. Look at this 42-year-old lady. Even now, being off the medicine for almost a year, I'm still having a lot of problems. And she reports what those problems are. She even says up here, I wish I never touched it. Wish I'd never heard of it in my life. This medicine made my life hell, so much hell. It has cost me money. It cost me a lot of stress. It cost me days and nights and trips with my family. It cost me a lot, and it is not worth it. And they go into what happened to them. They all start vomiting and cannot stop vomiting for over a year. Some of these people have lost their jobs. It's just a horrific side effect of these drugs. Do not trust venom-laced drugs. You do not have a disease or a symptom because you are venom deficient. Let's get back to Dr. Christiane Northrup. All right, Christiane Northrup, let's talk about some more of these solutions. I just want to talk about this because I find this interesting. I went to Cleveland Clinic and I went to Johns Hopkins Clinic, and I wanted to know on their websites, what do they publish are causes of polycystic ovarian syndrome?
Right.
Do you know that every single one of them says the cause for polycystic ovarian syndrome is still unknown?
Yeah. No.
So if they don't know, I mean, this is serious. If the medical profession doesn't know what causes polycystic ovarian syndrome, why do people in America go see medical doctors for polycystic ovarian syndrome if they don't actually know what even causes it?
Well, because the brainwashing from the time of John D. Rockefeller and the American Medical Association and the Flexner Report has been so effective that people are afraid not to go. And then the person in the white coat with the MD, medical deity, after their name comes in and does this. And then they feel as though they have done the right thing. And then the prescription comes across the desk, which is like the communion wafer. And there you go. And they go, well, and then here's what we do. Okay. We say things like, well, my doctor, who was chief of whatever at wherever, Harvard, Hopkins, the Mayo Clinic, whatever, and I use that when I can. Like my nail salon finally got rid of face masks this past June. I kid you not, they were a holdout. And so I said to them, I love this place. And I would, I think it's time that your techs could be breathing freely. The Mayo Clinic finally got rid of masks. Oh, okay. The Vatican said, I can do this. So you have to understand that the medical profession, as you know it, as comes down from on high in the ivory tower, is no different from a fundamentalist religion. And you and I have talked about this, about cults. It's a cult. I mean, it really is. There's so much we don't know the cause of. And so what you do is, the cause doesn't matter. What matters is a drug to mask the symptoms. That's what matters.
That's all they appear to be taught anyway. I actually said at my conference, the Healing for the Ages conference, that you were not able to attend, but you will be at the next ones, and we will have you presenting, which will be phenomenal because you're my hero.
Okay, good.
We just got to make sure it's not on some UFO galactics weekend seminar somewhere, because then you'll probably be there.
If I'm talking to the extraterrestrials, all bets are off. You never know.
You'll probably be there. You'll probably be there more than you'd be at our Healing for the Ages conference. But what I said is, all of us are just a product of our education and our training. So they're just going to repeat to you what they were trained. And unfortunately, they're training lackluster, in my opinion, and very limited. And I just couldn't imagine, actually. I'm very happy to be a part of the chiropractic alternative health sphere and leaving med school to go do that, because I actually found for the next 20 years of being in practice how frustrating it must be for them to be handcuffed to not actually know what the underlying cause of diseases are, and being handcuffed to two things: having to only prescribe a drug to mask symptoms, like number one, and then number two, having your license threatened if you don't follow those protocols or those recommendations. Like, I couldn't imagine being handcuffed to a protocol, being handcuffed to an electronic PDR system, physician's desk reference, telling you this is now what this person has. This is the drugs you have to treat them with. Don't go off of that. And I'm sure that's been damning. And also, number three, having insurance companies dictate to the patients what they are approved to take or have prescribed to them or be recommended over what the medical professional is actually prescribing to the individuals. I just couldn't. I would go crazy. I would want to blow up every health insurance company in the world if I wrote one prescription and said, after evaluating this individual for their conditions, I recommend this product. Couldn't imagine having a patient one after another call to my clinic and go, Dr. Ardis, I know you recommended this prescription drug. My insurance will not cover it. They says you need to prescribe something else. That would just drive me out of my mind crazy.
Well,
So,
it's worse than ever. I mean, when I was in practice, it was not nearly this bad. Of course, you could do off-label drugs. Everyone did it. And you could also, by the way, occasionally write a prescription for a family member. Who hadn't done that? But when they began to land on physicians for that, and by the way, my colleague Bernie Siegel back in the day, who wrote Love, Medicine, and Miracles, did the hernia operation on his own son. So,
awesome.
Things have really changed really, really quickly. And I saw it coming. So in 2015, when my license was up for renewal, I wrote him a letter and I said, I don't think I need this anymore. And that was the best thing I ever did, because when the FOIA request came in, after I was named one of the disinformation dozen, the board would say, oh, we're sorry, we don't have any jurisdiction over her. Ha, 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 ha. And, so now my colleagues, Dr. Carrie Made, I think, said, you can have it. We can do healing without all of that. And what we're creating here is a parallel system. There are still good doctors, like Lee Merritt says, okay, if you break your femur, you need me. I mean, we need some good orthopedic surgeons. We need some good general surgeons. We need people who can do this stuff. We're great at trauma, a car accident, whatever. I'll tell you what we suck at, and that would be polycystic ovary syndrome, long COVID, so-called long COVID, which is just, snake venom toxicity, all of that stuff. But thankfully, there are so many things coming on the scene. There are frequency devices. There's grounding. Actually, it's simpler than you think. Good water, structure the water with love, hydrated it with a little bit of Celtic sea salt. There's so much you can do right now that doesn't need to cost you a penny. Get out in the sun, stand on the ground, pray, get in touch with God. Didn't Jesus raise Lazarus after 4 days without any needles? There were no shots involved. He didn't say, Lazarus, I could help you, but you're going to need 79 different vaccines. Didn't happen. So I just think we're at this wonderful time of a grand shift, the Great Awakening. Or I just got a book from a guy whose name I forget, but it's called The Great Reset. The Great Reset, and it's how you take back your government one county at a time. I think his name is Zuniga, Zuniga, but The Great Reset. That's what this is about.
If they're working with Scott McKay and his group on these grand
they are.
juries
That's
all
the
around
one.
the country.
They're the one working with Scott. Yep.
Good. Yeah, we just did a show with him on his audience and on his platform on Thursday. The 4 docs of us that run the Healing for the Ages conference to talk about just the grand juries and how important this is going to be in saving this country. Seriously.
Beautiful.
All right. So I have a question for you. Do you know about the impacts? You just said frequencies. Do you know about the impacts of EMFs on female genital systems and reproductive systems?
Yes, I do. But I'll tell you what we're doing. Our group, My Cycle Story, is just about to publish a study that we did. We had 6,000 people, 6,000 women, almost none of whom were exposed to COVID in any way, shape, or form. Negative test, not that means anything, but still. And they hadn't been around it. And within 3 days of being around a recently COVID vaccinated person, 70% of them begin having abnormal bleeding. So this is our group, My Cycle Story. And we have followed 6,000 women, all of whom started to have, our first paper was on decidual cast shedding. And in our group of 6,000, there are 40 cases of this in the world literature. Right after the shot got rolled out, within about 3 months, 250 women in our subgroup had decidual cast shedding. That's the entire inside of the uterus falling out after days of cramping, usually. This is unheard of. So then our second study has been the one on what happened just being around people who'd had the shot, like a husband or a mother or that kind of thing. So something was, was transmitted. We don't know what it is, but I know that it's an EMF thing as well.
Yeah, I actually was studying this morning, just looking at some different things impacting PCOS. And I wanted to know about EMFs because EMFs was a entire 4-hour presentation of the Healing for the Ages conference. We wanted to discuss EMFs, EMF clothing, EMF Faraday fabrics, EMF protection from shungite, paints in your home to deflect 5G radiation, not a joke, films you can put in your windows, grounding, the importance of grounding every day. And so these are some of the hot topics we talked about, but I actually found that two things that I did not just read yet. I just hadn't looked directly at this. I wanted to know, what impact does radio frequencies, EMFs, have published on testes and on ovaries? In every case, I don't know if you know this, but they actually destroy sperm counts. They destroy follicular stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormones production and release. And they actually destroy and lower testosterone levels when exposed to even 30 minutes of EMFs from even a cell phone, laptop. I think it was 300 megahertz for 5 minutes was proven to do that instantly within 5 minutes, reducing testosterone production, luteinizing hormone, follicular stimulating hormone. And how does that impact your ovaries' ability to release eggs? You just talked about that in the first segment today.
Yeah, if you don't have the pulse of FSH, LH, you don't have any ovulation.
So does it have an impact? You better believe it. I mean, it's almost 1 in 3 couples in America, Christiana, can't have babies in America right now. And in Canada, it's 1 in 2 couples. I was doing presentations on this in 2018 when I was actually producing and creating my own acne all natural formula to combat acne, because acne is caused by excess androgen hormones.
Yes.
And this fits perfectly in line with PCOS. Your androgen hormones are, for example, like testosterone, right? This is an example of an androgen hormone.
Yeah.
So vitamin D is another androgen hormone. I mean, I couldn't believe it when I was reading. I was like, oh my God, they're screwing with everything in our body with EMFs. And then number 2, I just found this morning, I wanted to know, what do they know about glyphosate's impact on polycystic ovarian syndrome, testes, and ovaries health in general? I found this, and I've never even known this. I just read it an hour before I came on the show with you. They have published that they will do mammal studies and human studies where they expose mammal cells, humans, mammals, they will expose the cells to immediate glyphosate poisoning. And it doesn't appear to have any toxicity on your cells. However, the second and third generations of sperm and eggs who got the original. So if I got the glyphosate exposure to my sperm and testes, my third generation of procreated grandchildren, second and third generation, every single one of them they publish will have either kidney disease, obesity, diabetes, polycystic ovarian syndrome, infertility, birth defects. I'm not kidding. In the third generation from the first. So like there's this low level. We don't see any real toxicity up front to any humans right now. They do it in mice and rat studies over and over and over. They will study what happens if we give them glyphosate at this age, and then their offspring, what happens to them within 3 generations, total disease outcomes for all of their offspring. In the second generation, it's like 50% of all the offspring. But in human trials, they do not do any evaluations to study how does it affect not only this individual, what about its next progenitors, or what about its next generation? They don't test that ever. They've never done it. They refuse to do that. Any link to generational diseases and outcomes due to the original damage of you eating foods that have glyphosate in them. And they publish 72% of all farmlands in the whole world is being sprayed with glyphosate as the primary herbicide and pesticide. All right. In the last 3 seconds, you got another thing to go to. What do you want to tell the audiences, Christiana? Tell them where to find you. Tell them where to
Okay.
subscribe. Tell them where to share their stories. Tell them where to
All
send
right.
all their money. And when they don't want their cat anymore, where your address is because you're a cat lady. Okay, tell them.
drnorthrup.com. We got everything. It tells you about my Substack, my Telegram channel, where I'm going to be, the whole thing. Just go one place, drnorthrup.com.
Awesome.
Remember, God can heal anything. There are all kinds of cases of spontaneous remission. So, despite the bad news we have given you, I have faith in the fact that we were made in the image of God, and these things and more ye shall do also. It is our time to tune into that power.
And by their fruits you shall know them. And all of Christiane Northrup's fruits she's created over the last 25 years are life-saving, common sense, and beautiful, and nothing but from a place of love. And that's why I love you, Christiane Northrup. Have a blessed day. I look forward to seeing you in Miami. And God bless all our audiences abroad. Thank you.
Thank you.
Disclaimer. Please note, the following presentation is solely for informational purposes and should not be seen as a replacement for advice provided by your physician. It is important not to rely on the information from this presentation for diagnosis, treatment, medication prescription, or any other form of medical care. Always consult with your physician or healthcare professionals before taking any medication, nutritional supplement, herbal remedy, homeopathic treatment, or pursuing any health-related procedure. If you have a medical condition or believe you might have one, promptly contact your healthcare provider. Do not disregard professional medical advice or delay seeking it based on this presentation's information as the products or services purchased from it do not establish a doctor-patient relationship between you and any affiliated physicians. Statements about dietary supplements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.